so obviously the lockdown happened. We are the best community ever, Jenny Fly. You're absolutely right. What process did you go through as soon as that came?
You know, it was such a crazy time, and it happened so quick. You know, when they called the lockdown on the Monday, we actually had closed. We closed on the Saturday, you know, and the day before that, the Friday, we were talking as if we were just going to carry on and you know, it'd blow over, and you know, but by the Saturday there was obviously real concerns from clients, from the team, from, you know, so we got together and spoke about it, and we took, it was a very difficult decision, but we took it as a team, as we decide all of these things, and we're in the same boat as everybody else. Every spoke to a lot of them over the last couple of weeks. I think we're all in the same boat. But what's coming through is the camaraderie, and we're all in it together. I've loved some of the groups, you know, the group chats, you know, and it's brilliant.
Yeah. No, I get that. And what are you doing? So first off, with your own team, because obviously they're spread out nationally anyway, because you go as far north as Edinburgh, and then obviously you've got Oxford, Reading, Liverpool, London, and obviously Brighton. So you're literally the breadth of the country. I mean, obviously you're used to having to keep in touch with a team that's quite disparate in terms of distance. But what are you doing now to keep them engaged?
Well,
it's hard on everyone.
Yeah, it is, and we've shot quite a few videos, you know, internally, you know, and we've always had the use of kind of WhatsApp groups and Zoom chats and stuff like that. And it was funny when the first week of being locked down, we started having all these Zoom meetings, and I was thinking, actually, you know, this isn't too bad. We could do more of this. By week 3, I was thinking, actually, if I could just see somebody face to face again, that'd be great. So yeah, I think it's communication's the key to everything, isn't it? And I think as hairdressers, you know, we're probably naturally quite good at that, because we're doing it with our clients every day, and you know, we build our teams in much the same way. You know, we educate, we develop people, you know, and it's much the same as it normally would be in that sense. You know, it's the more you stay in touch and the more you communicate, the better it is.
Yeah. And in terms of managing the salon business, obviously, as I've said, you've got 6 salons. So did you how have you managed, you know, there's kind of, the government have put stuff that, no doubt they've taken action and they've put stuff in place. Some people are saying it's more difficult to get hold of. Some people are saying that they've got you know, they've got what they were expecting already. How have you been managing that?
Well, we, you know, it was, the difficult thing was obviously having to make the decision to furlough everybody that works in the salon, that, you know, the hairdressers, you know, that are actually, that they are the company, they are the team. I think it made me quite proud to be British. I think the way the British government have dealt with it, I've got to say, good, you know, to have that furlough facility where people can, you know, they have to be off, they have to stay at home, but they can receive 80% of the salary. It made me give a bit of a salute to Boris Johnson and co, you know, and so I think that facility is good. Electric, you know, it's always been a team, you know, there's a lot of stuff I'm not that good at, you know, and we've got people that are good at all of those things, you know, so, you know, our accounts people have been great, and, you know, we immediately had, you've got to cut your costs, and, you know, obviously you essentially, you've got no money coming in, you know, you used to, the great thing about a hair salon is somebody has the hair cut and coloured and pays at the time. You know, it's totally different from a product business where you're manufacturing and then you're waiting to be paid. And, you know, that was another thing we had to learn about. But, you know, the great thing about the hairdressing industry, it's instant. And that's all just come to a grinding halt. No salons open, no clients coming in.
Yeah.
So we've just had to manage it, you know, and essentially it's cutting the costs and weathering the storm and trying to get everybody excited about coming back, the team and clients, because I really do think it'll be a big, we came into this quickly, and I think we'll come out of this quickly, and when we do, you know, it might be the end of May or whatever everyone's talking about, but when we do, I think those people that love hairdressing and love people and want to be around the clients, then get stuck in and fill your boots, you know, because it's going to be busy.
And how, yeah, I think you're absolutely right, because you can see the people now already saying, oh, I need a haircut, what am I going to do? And I've been reading some, Paul Stafford had a hilarious message from one of his clients in Ireland saying, oh, I'm not a hairdresser, but I'd like to cut my daughter's hair into a bob. I mean, you know, you just can't do that. It takes skill, dedication, training, and more training to be a hairdresser and to do what you guys do day in, day out, which is make people look and feel better about themselves. You can't do that at home. I mean, I will, as long as this goes on, my fringe will get longer and my roots will just have to be lived with. So
I've got to say, you're looking good, Jayne. You're looking
you're
good.
Too kind.
I mean, the amount of people I've spoke to online, and the funny thing, obviously a lot of guys have chosen to shave their head.
Yeah.
And I've done that 3 times in my life, and
Yeah.
not at 45. I've done it all before I was 30. And I knew then it didn't suit me then, so I thought, right, I'm not doing that.
Doing that
So
again.
I got online to our bank manager the other day, and I hope he's not watching, because, you know, he's quite a square sort of guy, you know, and he
Don't
said,
call him that.
bank manager's haircut, you know, but he'd shaved his head. So when I was waiting for him to come on screen like I was with you this morning. When he came on, I burst out laughing. He said, "Oh, I knew you'd laugh at, you know, obviously being a hairdresser, but you know, it's yeah, you've got to, you know, my daughter's cut my son's hair. She's 14, you know, and that was pretty good."
Okay. Under supervision of you, though, I hope.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's great, Lila, my middle daughter. She's going into one of our salons every Saturday and working, and she goes in on training nights. But, you know, cutting's obviously a level on from there, you know. But she got stuck in and cut my son's hair, who's a year older than her. And, you know, I was impressed.
Still speaking?
Yeah, they're all good.
Good. And what about things like landlords and, you know, kind of suppliers? I mean, it seems to me that the manufacturers have really pulled together to try and help businesses. I mean, clearly they're massively impacted too, because let's not forget, if no one's having their haircut, you guys are not ordering colour. And good morning, Colin John here, and also Bruce Macefield saying hi, Mark.
Hey, hi, Bruce.
So,
good morning.
Know, people are. Every business, whatever you're in, surrounding the industry, as well as those opening on the high street, are all affected. So, but you know, people really feel like they pulled together and are supporting each other. Have you found that with, like, from, I mean, landlords slightly different? Definitely.
And if I'm talking with my salon owner's hat on, and being a manufacturer now for the last 9 or 10 years, I've got a lot of respect for the manufacturers that you know that we deal with. I mean, you know, in my case, you know, that's L'Oreal, you know, with colour and all of that, and we've worked together for years. I think that, you know, they've been brilliant in how they've looked after salons and advised them and stuff like that. And I've spoke to a lot of the salon owners we deal with in the UK and the US that carry electric products, and, you know, okay, we're more independent than that. We're, you know, smaller, and I keep telling everyone we're the craft brewer of the professional hair market. But I've spoken to a lot of people, and I've tried to share everything I can, and, you know, and listen to them. And the truth is, I guess we all learn off each other, don't we?
I'd agree with that.
But I've got to say, I think the manufacturers have been great. As I said earlier, I think the government in this country have been pretty good too. Yeah. Landlords, it's a funny one. I mean, everyone's got a different landlord. Some of them are national landlords, and, you know, and owned by big pension companies. And some of those people are saying, well, okay, you can have a 3-month rent break. Other people don't want to do that. 2 of my salons are in Harvey Nichols stores. Right. They've been brilliant. They've cancelled rent for the period we're closed.
Okay.
You know, and they're obviously a big company, and I was impressed with that. You know, it's but, you know, there's fors and against. Some of our salons don't fall into the category where the rateable value is too high, so they can't get the rate grant back.
Right. Yeah.
A couple of our salons fall into that, and a couple of them fall into it where they can get it back.
Okay.
So we're just, you know, we're trying to make the best out of every situation.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And what are you doing to keep in touch with clients? I mean, you know, there's been much furore on social media channels with people saying, oh yeah, just put a box dye on, and, you know, which has caused
not the right answer. Yeah.
No, in my view, not the right answer. But how are you managing your own clients? Are you talking to them? Are you?
Yeah, and I think we are talking to them. It is a real difficult one. I've got one of my clients is a TV presenter on BT Sports, and she called me the other day and said, "Look, we're going to have to do some filming from our house. What do I do? You know, she's blonde and she's concerned about the roots." And I said, "You know, the last thing you want to do is try and lighten your own hair." And so we kind of talked through some styling options of where the roots might not be that visible. My belief is color and stuff like that should only be done in a salon under any circumstances, because you're just dealing with so many variables, you know, and you know, we're in unprecedented times. So people, there are a percentage of people that are going to try and color their hair at home, and hopefully they'll come back to the salon and the hairdresser will have a good time fixing it. You know, but yeah, our clients are in a bad position as well. So I think we've got to be seen to be helpful towards.
I think it's the support, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's not shaming clients that have decided for whatever reason to have a go themselves when they either phone up and say, "Help, what have I done?" or they're coming back in. It's not shaming.
Look, those clients keep us afloat. They, you know, and if you've got a client that comes in every 4 weeks because she hates having roots, then you've got a duty to care for that person and try and give her the best advice. You know, she's going to be at home panicking about having roots, and you know, we've got to give them the best advice without telling them to get the box color out. You know.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. And you mentioned about the product company. So you launched Electric London, and obviously Scott's Hair Design, we will have our work cut out when we get back. I think you're probably right. And Tattoo Alan saying, tell them to grow dreadlocks till lockdown ends. I don't think I'll ever achieve a dreadlock in my life. I don't have enough hair, but I'll give it a go. I mean, I know from knowing you that was a huge learning curve from you, but as you said earlier, it works in a very different way. You know, you don't get paid as soon as you offer the service. So how are you managing the product business?
I mean, the truth is, in a lot of ways, the majority of people that buy our products are obviously salons. You know, it's a professional product. So the truth is, the absolute truth is, the salons that buy the products are closed.
Yeah.
So we're not selling a lot of products at the moment. We are selling quite a lot online. You know, a lot of our clients and, you know, and people that buy the products here and abroad have been buying them online, but it's not the same as, you know, I feel we've built a real community of good hairdressers that carry Electric products because they want to be part of something.
Yeah.
And I feel duty bound to, you know, support those people and, you know, really think we've got a great community going. But yeah, the truth is, it's a bit like in hibernation in some ways. In other ways, I think I've been working quite closely. I've been doing a lot of Zoom calls with our chemist that we've worked with for 10 years. And we've got 3 new formulas we've been working on for a while. And so one of them in particular wasn't working. You know, we were thinking, right, we found this will be the thing. And we've got that working this week. So we've achieved a few things.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's all about how we get, it's same as the salons. It's all about how we get going when we come back. And the other thing for us, a lot of it is live events, you know, like Electric sessions. Are we going to be allowed to do those?
Yeah.
Will we have to do them on video? You know, there's a lot of unanswered questions as well.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And nobody knows. I think that's for someone who needs a plan and likes to know what's happening next week, next month, in 3 months' time, that can cause quite a lot of anxiety. So, you know, I think you're right. You can't plan for that. But I think also you're also, I think part of that whole community thing is the way the products have worked. You're also using local companies, locally sourced ingredients to home in the Falmouth, aren't you? To try and keep that community.
Well, you know what? We before that was fashionable. We got into that really accidentally, if I'm honest, because you know we'd formulated products ourselves. I'd got a chance to meet Richard, the first chemist we started working with, and you know, it was a case of buying all these ingredients that, you know, and at the time, you know, the ingredients and the raw materials, you could choose whether they were cruelty free okay, let's do it the right way. So we were saying yes, you know, to all of that.
Yeah.
Then we realised, you know, when we bought the farm here at Falmer, you know, we were thinking, well, actually, you know, one of our products, we use silica, which is a chalk compound. That's sourced a couple of miles down the road, you know, all the white cliffs, you know, the south coast, high chalk content. And then we thought, well, maybe we can grow a few of these ingredients as well. You know, the roses for our rose serum are grown here in Sussex. So we kind of got into it that way. And then luckily for us, that's become really, you know, sought after. But in truth, we got into it a little bit by accident. But, you know, and even though we've only got 13 products in our line, you know, we're proud of it. You know, I think I feel like we're making a really good product, and we're, you know, and everything in there we can vouch for. And
what would you say to people who are thinking about, because you've done both, opening a salon or starting a product line? What advice would you give to them, knowing what you know now?
I tell you what I've learned in this last 3 weeks of being locked down, right? And I've done a lot of self kind of evaluating, and I've looked at a lot of stuff, you know, I feel we could have done a lot better. And I think you can't spin too many plates, you know, you've got to look at what you do and do it well. You know, I think you look at, you know, one of my real, you know, people I admire most, you know, and he's a great friend of mine, you know, Anthony Mascolo. I think, you know, if you look at what the Mascolo, arguably the world's most successful salon group at the time. Yeah. And then linked with that, the world's most successful product line, what they, you know, I think the thing they built, the community they built around TG, you know, it was an amazing thing. And I guess, you know, there's a lot of talent in that family, you know, 4 brothers who all played their part. But I think, you know, at the heart of it, Anthony's creativity, I think, took it to the next level. I don't believe one person can do all of that. So I think for me, I think we've focused on this little bit and this little bit. Salons, we will always have our own salons, and you know, I've been a hairdresser all my life, been a salon owner as soon as I was able to. Yeah. I love that. I love the people element, and the products we've been learning, you know, we've been learning as we go. But, you know, I feel now that we've got, you know, 100 salons in the UK and close to 300 salons in the US, and growing, you know, 70 or 80 salons in Canada now, you know, with good hairdressers, you know, you know, they are being used by some of the world's best session hairdressers, you know, and we're in some of the really great salons. So I'm excited about learning off some of the people we work with as well.
So Andy Moransky's asked, should we be charging extra for restyling, as most people will have missed 1 to 2 appointments when we go back? It's an interesting question.
I think, you know, you've got to look at every aspect of your business. And hello, Andy. I mean, we work with Andy as well with products, which is brilliant. So I believe you're duty bound to look after your clients, as I said earlier. For me, I don't think it's about what can we charge them. I think it's welcoming them back and making them feel part of it all again. And you know, we're happy to see them. So I'm keener to do that than try and charge them extra for things. Okay.
And just very quickly, because there's lots of other stuff to talk about, but obviously you've got Falmer. The thing that I couldn't believe was actually the barn that you're using, the thatch barn, was in the Doomsday Book, which is actually going to become kind of head office for electric.
Yeah. Well, we've had some good parties in there already, you know. Well, you've been to them anyway.
I know.
You know, but, you know, but we've got this, well, former farm, you know. We're going to build our offices here, which is a whole ecosystem, so it's all renewable energy. And then, we've got this barn that's 800 years old. And, you know, we're going to open a big, obviously we've owned the studio for 16 years now, you know, the electric studio. We're going to open a big photographic and film studio in there, and it'll be a venue for events, you know. And obviously it'll all centre around hair and hairdressing. So
I think it'll be hilarious that in the annals of history it'll say owned by Anne of Cleves, Cromwell, and Mark Woolley.
Mark Woolley, the ginger northerner, you know.
A northerner. We love a northerner.
But yeah, that's got some real history. Yeah, Anne of Cleves owned it. Cromwell owned the whole area around here, but Anne of Cleves actually owned the barn. You know, yeah, you know, I think there'll be some good things happening there. And the thing for me is people will be able to come here, and they might come for a photo shoot or a show or an education event, but they'll be able to see the products being developed and made. That's what excites me. And I've taken loads of inspiration from other brands. You know, like I said earlier, I love, you know, what Anthony Mascolo and the Mascolo family created. I think what Michael Gordon created in Bumble and Bumble was amazing. I think you know, Davide and his family that have created Davines, you know, done great things as well. And I really feel like, as small as we are, we're called in that same line. I really do.
No, it's cool. There's lots of people saying they're looking forward to invites to the party, so I think you're going to be.
Well, what you got to do, just DM me, and we'll make sure you're on the list, as long as you behave yourself, obviously. You know what
I think when this is all over, it's going to be one hell of a party in hairdressing. So, and obviously social media at the moment, everybody's using it to talk to their audiences, to customers. And Instagram, kind of, there's mixed views on Instagram, and people putting filters on stuff. Are we creating an unrealistic opportunity, you know, unrealistic images for clients and stuff? What's your thought on that?
Well, firstly, I think Instagram and all social media, great ways of communicating. They're also, it's a bit like a band that can make a great studio album but are not that good live. And if you look at all the great hairdressers, you know,
great analogy.
You know, if you look at all the great hairdressers, they've all been able to present great shows. They've been able to do it live. They've been able to go off and think of concepts and put that into photographs and films. Instagram's the same. I think you've got to use it for what it is. I personally like it, but it's like anything else. My belief is, if you're a hairdresser, you've got to have earned your stripes. You've got to have been trained well. You've got to have worked hard as a young stylist. You've got to take in inspiration and become good. I mean, I look at loads of people on Instagram, and I've been doing it probably more whilst I've been off.
Who do you follow? Who do you think people should follow?
You know, loads of people. Loads, obviously, from a hair point of view. You know, I like watching passionate hair cutters, like, you know, you've got Andy Heisman and co, and the Mazzella and Palmer guys. You know, that's one thing. And then you've got session hairdressers like James Pichis and Johnny Sapong and Eugene, who are creating artistry with hair. You know, like Angelo and I love people's biographies and stories as well. So I like looking at things from that point of view. I also look at a lot of people outside the industry, and you know, that have built either great businesses or, you know, I like art, music, fashion. You know, you take bits from everywhere, but you know, you can find it all on Instagram. So I like it, but I think you got to take it for what it is. I think, you know, there are people out there that have definitely created a facade, and you can look at it and think, well, that's a load of bollocks. Pardon the French. But I think there's amazing stuff out there, and there's people doing great work, and I think it's good for all hairdressers to use it as a source of inspiration.
I mean, so interestingly, someone's asked, you mentioned the thing about charging clients more. Paula's freelance hairdressing has said, would you charge more for colour because of regrowth being longer? I mean, I'm assuming you don't charge by time, you charge by service.
Yeah, I'm definitely of the mind. I get where people are going with that, but I'm definitely of the mindset. And I'm trying to remember who I was sat listening to somebody present one day, and they said, give your clients something to be pleasantly surprised about.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit like, you know, these random acts of kindness, you know, when you go to Pret and they give you a free coffee, you know, you're not expecting it. I think do that with your clients. Don't think, oh, you've got 2 more inches on your regrowth, let's add some money on the bill. blow their minds when they come back. Remind them of why they come back to you and why they love your salon.
Yeah, I think
hopefully,
really
if you're good at what you do, you'll be charging them good money anyway, and what's a fair price, and give them something to go away, walking out the door thinking, I love going there, and I love him or her cutting my hair, or colouring it. I think it's doing that.
No,
exciting them.
And what do you think, as kind of hairdressers and business owners, the industry or you personally will take away from this? What's the kind of lessons that you've learned, you would say, that this, because none of us saw this coming, in a sense. In my lifetime, I never thought I wouldn't be allowed to go out or see my family. What do you take away from that?
I think, for me, none of us saw it coming. For me, I've tried to find the positives in it. Obviously, the negatives are, there's a lot of worry, and we're just hoping, you're thinking, right, it's all about survival and coming out the other side. The positives are, there is actually taking some time to press the reset button. And for me, I do feel like I've taken a step back and I've looked at some of the things I didn't feel we were doing very well and looked at ways we could improve them.
Fair enough. Scott's hair designer said, good customer care, give them all a free treatment. I think it's what you were saying about delight the customer when they are allowed to come back in. And then hair
customer delight. It's funny. I don't seek people out because I think, oh, they're an educator. I tell you, one of the guys that I think is great, and he's in America. He's a great friend of mine as well, a guy called DJ Muldoon. He's actually English, and he's a former Sassoon guy. We work with him he's an electric ambassador in the US, but I think he's an amazing hairdresser, an amazing teacher to break. If you're going to learn from someone who does the basics really well. For me, that's him. He's the sort of guy you could go on a hair cutting retreat with and refresh your skills. He's so he's definitely good. Really seek people at work, and I try and look into their work and take something from that. Have we frozen?